So, Austin Medcalf's weight made an issue? Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense, Logic, and Reason. As always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So there are a lot of black people who's been trying to defend Karmelo Anthony. Now, of course, you know, he's the black kid that stabbed the white kid at a track meet in Texas. Now, reportedly what happened is that Karmelo Anthony was under the tent that was designated for Austin Medcalf School. Well, they attempt to try to physically remove him from under the tent, and of course, Karmelo Anthony took out a knife and stabbed Medcalf, basically fatally stabbing him in the heart. Now, these blacks are trying to say, well, it was self-defense. They tried to pull the self-defense claim, trying to give basically Karmelo Anthony is some type of a defense, and of course, no surprise, they all crying racism and white supremacy, and referring to, Tyree Nasheed referred to Austin Medcalf as a suspected white supremacy, like everything is suspected white supremacy to that fool. But the problem is that the claim of self-defense doesn't fit this particular case. Now, under Texas law, in order for you to claim self-defense, number one, there must be imminent danger to your life. Immediate danger to your life. Well, according to reports by, Austin's brother, he said that Austin basically grabbed his bag, Karmelo Anthony's bag, to remove it from under their tent. And this is when Karmelo Anthony pulled out a knife and stabbed him. Well, that's not an immediate danger. His life was not in immediate danger because someone grabbed his bag. So that does not warrant pulling out a knife and stabbing someone, because there was no immediate danger nowhere into his life. Now, there's also been reports that he possibly grabbed the bag and Karmelo Anthony to remove him under the tent. Still, though, that's no imminent danger to your life. If someone's trying to harm you, they're coming after you. They're not going to worry about your bag regardless. And even if he touched him and grabbed him, that's still no imminent danger to your life. There has to be imminent danger, a serious poisoning danger to your life. For me, if he had a knife and was tempted to try to attack Karmelo Anthony or something like that, but that didn't happen. So again, self-defense is not going to work. It's not going to work here for Karmelo Anthony because it doesn't fit the statute. Also, Texas is a stand your ground law. So you can stand your ground, but again, according to Texas law, you have to be in a place where you were invited, your place where you're supposed to be. And reportedly, Karmelo Anthony wasn't even supposed to be at the track meet. I believe I heard a report that he's supposed to be at school, but regardless, you're under someone else's tent. So you can't use stand your ground if you're in someone else's space or area of property. You cannot enter someone's home and then try to say it's stand your ground. Now, if it's inside your home, someone into your home and attempt to try to harm you, then you can say stand your ground. But he was under someone else's tent. So either way, he has no real defense. There's no way that anyone can cry self-defense in this case because it just doesn't fit the law. Now, reportedly, another excuse that blacks are trying to say is that, his weight was brought into issue. A question saying that he significantly outweighed Karmelo Anthony, and that Karmelo Anthony was afraid. And this is what prompted him to pull out a knife. Well, first and foremost, again, according to reports, they told him to leave, and Karmelo Anthony said, "Come make me." In other words, that doesn't sound like a person who's afraid. So that the fear argument also falls apart. But I've heard people say that Austin Medcalf was 250 pounds. And then I saw the pictures of him and I'm like, no way, there's no way this kid is no 250 pounds. I mean, what was he, like 6'9", 6'10", perhaps? Well, basically, he was actually 6'1" and 225 pounds. And it's still, even in the pictures, I don't see it. I'm like, you telling me that this kid is 225 pounds? Even at 6'1", you know, and they say that he was a linebacker. Looking at that picture, if someone were to ask me what was his position on the team, I would say quarterback or kicker. But linebacker, I just don't mean that. Now they say he was a ferocious linebacker or something like that. Well, regardless though, if you look at his stature, there's nothing physically imposing about this dude. So there's no argument that anyone can make and say Karmelo Anthony felt threatened by Austin based off of weight and size. Now, I tried to look up the dimension of Karmelo Anthony, his height, his size. The problem is that anytime you enter his name, even if you use the correct spelling Karmelo with a K, you end up with Karmelo Anthony, the former basketball player, who was actually 6'9". But so I couldn't find any dimensions on Karmelo Anthony himself, but I just don't see how Austin Medcalf was this physically imposing dude. So that's a lie. But anyway, in closing, y'all, I got a little black hypocrisy, and of course, you know where I'll be going here is, if it was the other way around, and Austin Medcalf would have fatally stabbed Karmelo Anthony while Karmelo Anthony was attempting to remove him from the tent, black folks would not be crying about no self-defense. They'd be crying racism, and murder, and how Austin needs to be in jail for this the suspected white supremacist, racist white guy should be in jail for killing a black man. This is exactly what they see. So this is proof that when it comes down to left, they operate based off of the agenda, not based off of the truth. Because conservatives, our viewpoint would be the same either. If it was the other way around, I would be saying that Austin Medcalf is wrong and he had no justification for killing Karmelo Anthony, because there's no justification. We're conservative. We're basically we go based off what the facts say and what the evidence say, not an agenda. So that when I say that people on the left are willing to lie to push their agenda, again, I'm not just making this up. There's evidence all around us. But like I say, I don't believe Karmelo Anthony is going to jail, because he has no argument here. There's no justification for his behavior in killing someone over what's been described. Now, obviously, we have to wait on more information. Is there any more information to come out? Is there any audio? Is there any video of what happened? But from what we see now, Karmelo Anthony is going to jail. He's going to be found guilty. And if I was on the jury, I would found him guilty. I would vote for him to be guilty based off of the evidence that we see here. Either way, if it was Austin did it to Karmelo or Karmelo did it to Anthony, I would say each person should go to jail because they're guilty of this. Anyway, like I said, y'all, that's my 2 cents on this. And I just don't see how anyone could sit here and try to make a defense based off of self-defense, stand your ground, or any weight of Austin Medcalf. Anyway, y'all, as always, until next time.